Welcome, Will. We are glad you're here today. Will Acuff is joining us on our podcast today. He is the author of No Elevator to Everest, as well as the founder of Corner to Corner Ministries. We're glad you're here today.
Pumped to be here, Mike. Thank you for having me.
So where are you originally from?
Yeah, born in Durham, North Carolina, raised outside of Boston. My dad was a church planter. After going to seminary at Gordon Conwell, he planted in 1985 in the office of a gas station. And by the mid-90s, 1,000 to 2,000 people on a Sunday, all through conversion growth. So I grew up in a family that was very kingdom-minded and entrepreneurial. I think that's where John and I got it from. But came back to the South for college to do my undergrad at NC State. Thought I'd go be a pastor just like my dad. And then I fell in love with being in a rock and roll band. And so took a detour where I was, my hair was down to here. None of it was gray. And I was playing from the Apollo in Harlem down to the Dallas Hard Rock and a bunch of crappy bars in between.
Gun and knife clubs, they call them, huh?
Oh, man.
Shoot your way in, cut your way out. Huh?
You might get paid $10, but you had free beer kind of spots. And, man, it was a lot of fun. But I would say...
What instrument do you play?
I was co-lead singer and lead guitar player.
Okay.
Yeah. But good for my ego, bad for my soul. And at that time, I met an epidemiologist from the University of North Carolina who is an expert on the AIDS pandemic. And this is 2002. He started leading a small group at his house where we were studying the word and asking the question, what should Christians do in the face of suffering and poverty? And then he was giving us like a PhD level class on, global economic trends and how that influenced disease. And so then we went to Nairobi that summer. And we all split up, and I stayed with a Kenyan family. And I got to see firsthand what the faith leaders and the business leaders were doing in the face of the AIDS pandemic. And I came home from that trip with this internal dissonance where it's just like, oh, man, See,
that's the price why I tell people, don't go on a mission trip.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it'll wreck your life.
It will mess you up.
From now on.
Yeah, and this was a mission trip where we didn't do anything. We didn't build anything. We didn't run a program. We literally sat at the feet of the local leaders. And so it was the first time I'd also kind of not been the center, And so I came back from that with this deep sense that I did not have a theology of neighbor. And I needed to learn how to get one. And so soon after, met and married my wife. And 20 years ago, we moved into a low-income neighborhood off of Dickerson Road in Nashville in order to get a theology of neighbor by living it out. And so everything changed after that.
So what was your life plan before the Nairobi trip?
Be a famous rock star. Yeah. And we were doing the things.
Yeah.
We were making that happen. And then, being confronted with this reality that the New Testament especially, and I'd make the argument the whole scripture, but Jesus seems to care a lot about what's going on with people's whole persons.
That's right.
And that the gospel is not just gospel word, it's also gospel deed. And that I had a significant gap between my head knowledge and my lived experience. And so, when we moved in, my wife, she jumped into the deep end. She got a job at the men's prison and became a job training specialist. So helping justice-involved neighbors come home to employment. We kept an open front door policy. So we were doing life with these guys and their families. And we just consistently saw that we had image-bearing neighbors with God-given passion, creativity, and drive, but with no bridge of opportunity to bring those to the marketplace in a way that would actually launch them out of poverty. And so back in 2011, we launched our own nonprofit called Corner to Corner, where the focus became, how do you equip underestimated neighbors with everything they need to launch their own small business so they can become their own economic engine? So fast forward, we've now launched almost 2,000 of those entrepreneurs. Last year, we put $46.7 million back into the neighborhood economy. We've got, research partnership at Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, most recently MIT. They're studying the work. And the big shift last year for us is we started taking it nationwide, aimed at the church. And so it's called Kingdom Founders. And we're saying to churches, hey, you have long been doing relief work, maybe food relief or clothing, but relief is a great place to start and a terrible place to stop. You have to connect it, right? It's like if you've never gone to Home Depot to buy a one-rung ladder, right? Not very useful. We actually need to build up this pathway. And so I say to churches, you don't have the time or the manpower to build out what we've built out, but we've got a turnkey solution for you.
Yeah, there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
100%. And guess what? You've got high capacity leaders in your church right now, CFOs, CMOs, who are sitting in the pews, and they're highly useful people who don't feel useful on Sunday.
Right.
And so how do we get their skills
Or
off
worse,
the bench?
see nothing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, 100%.
That have that connects it all to Sunday.
Yes, correct. That gets there.
So I behave myself on Sunday,
Yep.
but it's a different world that Jesus doesn't have anything to do with on the rest of the world.
100%. And so,
And the questions that we face, we're getting in midterm elections
yep,
of poverty, homelessness, the price of everything.
yep.
Are totally disconnected from my faith and how I live out my faith.
100%.
So we think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the lie we've been bought.
Right.
Yeah. But Jesus doesn't want a part of your life.
No.
He doesn't want 24 hours on Sunday. He wants the whole deal.
Right. As I tell people, you don't stand at the foot of the cross and negotiate percentages.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 100% true, right?
Yeah.
He wants your whole life because he is life.
Yeah.
And when you use your passions and your skills in alignment with
Which
who
are
God
his
made you to
gifts.
be, 100%.
Which are his gifts.
Yep.
To do that.
it's-
See, for me,
yeah.
it was Living Hope. Bunch of years ago, Scott Harris, who was our missions guy
Yeah,
at the time.
I know Scott.
Everybody knows Scott.
He's the most famous, non-famous person in Nashville.
So I said, Scott, you got to find us an AIDS ministry, or Nashville will not take us seriously, because it was such a big issue in the music industry here. So many people being affected in the high. And so I thought he would find a nonprofit here in Nashville that we would partner with. He comes back and goes, I found it, and it's in South Africa. Okay, John Thomas, Living Hope Church, or Fishhook Baptist Church, Living Hope is the ministry, right across the street from Massapequa, which was a settlement. Half the people in there had AIDS. And so I was talking to John, what got you into this? He said, Matthew 25 scared me to death. That I was going to stand up in front of God and him say, you did pretty well with the little Baptist church they gave you. What about all the people across the street?
Yeah.
And so they started the hospice care. They started the hospital. They developed care that literally people would come from all over the world to find out what you were doing to treat these AIDS patients because they were having success. Then we had to go in. I say we got to go in, put a jobs program together because they were getting better, leaving the hospital, going back to their village. So we taught them how to hydroponics, raise crops that they would sell to restaurants and feed their families out of that using the great big water buckets and that kind of stuff. So that was where it changed or started my own thinking. This was a church doing what the government should have done, whatever, stuff. But they did it with such freedom and abandonment and and resources that were readily available in that, hey, we've got to figure out, well, he does that. Can you figure, oh, yeah, I do that all the time. And it would be beautifully done. And it was all sitting here in the church. See, now, one of the reasons that I'm really eager to have this conversation with you is when we talk about the future of the church. A tsunami is going to hit the church in the next 10 years or so. that will radically change how we do church. And there's all kind of rivers and streams coming together. In response to that, one of the things that we say to churches is look around your community, find a problem, and solve it. And it may be everything from these kids in this local school aren't up on reading level, so we've got tutors who'll go over there and do this. But solve the problem so that you become known as the church that did this.
100%.
Yeah. And
moving in love.
As you know, and as you've already mentioned, most of our church members are gifted, passionate, and see no way to connect their faith, their skills, in a meaningful way that makes a difference. In the country. So you talk a lot about entrepreneurship. Okay. How do you begin to help Joe Pewsitter and his wife Jane? They come every Sunday. They're good people.
So first, what we do, we have a 10-week program that equips historically low-income neighbors with the knowledge, tools, and networks. So who's your target customer? What problem are you solving? That kind of thing. But we do it in a faith-integrated way.
Okay. Now, those are the basic things you would find in any entrepreneur course.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And I remember we had one time a Stanford MBA graduate sitting in our training, right? And he was participating in how we train our facilitators.
Right.
And halfway through the day, he stood up and he said, "This is what I went into debt to learn how to do at Stanford." And you're getting the same thing.
Yes, right? Yeah.
So these are building blocks.
Yeah, my point is these are solid, proven principles.
100%.
Universal.
Right. We integrate that with deeply, biblical faith principles. So, for example, in week 1, when we talk about who you are as the founder, we talk about how you were made on purpose by a loving God for a purpose. In week 2, when we talk about who's your customer, we say, well, you're called to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, a great entrepreneur gets close enough to their neighbor to find out what their pain point is and solve it. You can do this as an act of love. And guess what? They'll pay you for it. And so we integrate these deeper truths throughout. And so to somebody in a church pew, like we're now in 7 different communities around the nation, hope to be at 20 by the end of the year. What we do is we teach these local churches to recruit their business leaders so that the church staff doesn't have to run the program. But these leaders do. And so what we say is, all right, you've got 3 roles. You need a co-facilitator, the 2 people who are going to help lead it. You need guest speakers to come in each week to speak from their subject matter expertise. And at the end of the program, you need the mentors who walk with them after. And they say, oh my gosh, but how are we going to find people to give up 5 hours a week for 10 weeks? I say, well, you just had a bunch of people retire. You've got high capacity people who are now home, and 3 months in, their wife is going, why are you here on a Tuesday?
I didn't marry you for lunch.
Right?
I married you for life, but not for lunch.
100%. Those are your co-facilitators.
Right.
Get them in the game. And then your people who are mid-career. You might have a CFO who needs to be the finance guest speaker. Bring them in that week. Because what we also find is economic mobility is directly connected to who you know.
Right.
Your network influences your net worth. And so if we build these bridges, we will see different outcomes.
Who wrote the book When Helping Hurts?
Oh, yeah, the Brian Fickert the Trauma Institute.
Yeah, his thing is poverty is lack of access.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know who to call. I can't get to the people I need to get to.
100%. And so we change that, and we teach these churches how to become the centers for this kind of work. And then we help them to replicate our graduation, which is a big part of what we do. We've had it at the Curb Center at Belmont. We've had it at the Titan Stadium. We'll have 2,000 to 3,000 people come and celebrate their graduation. But on your way into the building, we have a business expo going. And it ends up being their first customers, their first orders, their first sales. And all of this is about practically moving the needle for that family, both doing that in a community of love and support, but also doing that financially in a practical way.
But you do it in such a way, and this is so key, you do it in a way that that restores the dignity of work.
100%.
One of the great things about the gospel is it gives a person's dignity back to them.
Absolutely.
And this is a key component of that.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think entrepreneurship is an amazing cauldron for your best to come forth. And if you can do that brave and scary thing while surrounded by people who are called by Jesus to love you well, you're not doing it alone. And so what often happens, because no entrepreneur does it in a simple way, right? This is hard.
Yeah.
And you need people to lean on. You need people who you can call. You need that support. And so what we find is people go, oh my gosh, I felt like I was going to be alone in this, but you were here for me. Like one of our graduates, Kayla, she came to us with a $30 Walmart juicer that you or I might have in our kitchen and an idea that she was going to do an organic juice company because she saw those, tiny little bottles of juice and she was like, that's $12. I'm pretty sure the lemon and ginger is not that. I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward, she went through the class, learned all of our model, and she learned that she had to have distribution.
Right.
And so after graduating, she got the smallest booth that she could get at the farmer's market because she knew there'd be good foot traffic. Calls us a month in. Oh my gosh, guys, I don't know what to do. This juicer for $30 from Walmart is starting to smoke. It wasn't meant for this volume. Can you loan me the money
Right.
To upgrade my equipment? We loaned her $1,000 and it was a loan. She had to pay us back. We gave her 12 months to pay us back. She paid it back in 6 weeks.
Yeah, but again, it's the dignity of having paid back. I bought this machine.
100%.
Yeah.
It's hers.
Yeah.
Well, so we were so impressed with her growth. We partner with Goldman Sachs. They have a small business training program they lead in Manhattan. We told them, you've got to meet Kayla. They brought her up for their training. Day 2 of the training, I get a text early in the morning and it said, got him. And I was like, what is Kayla talking about? Because how sometimes the photo is delayed on the text?
That's right.
Right? Then the photo showed up and it's a signed contract with Goldman Sachs for 200 units of her juice because she happened to hear a staff person say they were doing another conference next week.
Right.
So she sold them, right? They end up being so blown away by her. They invited her to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, my stars.
So now Kayla's horizon, right, just expanded tremendously. And Mike, now I'm blown away by this. She has an order from them every single quarter for over 3,000 units of juice. They're her biggest customer. She just hit $1 million in revenue.
Well, it doesn't hurt that you have Goldman Sachs on, as your reference there, huh? You want to know how we get? Yeah, call Goldman Sachs.
Yes,
I'll take care of this.
absolutely. Yeah, we've been building this thing for a while. But my point is, I think sometimes in the nonprofit space and in the church ministry space, we see our neighbors through a lens of pity.
Right.
And then we build relief-only solutions as if the best that neighbor could hope for is stability.
Right.
But no, we should be the people who see them as full image bearers.
That's right.
And so we never see pity. We see potential.
Right.
And we see their redemptive arc, right? Because that's how Jesus sees us. He says, oh, no. You think this is the story?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about.
Yeah. And we talked about this earlier, this discipleship triangle, this worship, discipleship, where God encounters us. It always starts with the God encounter somewhere. That inspires us to study and learn more about this God who's encountered. Well, the more time you spend with God, then you're going to realize he's on a mission to redeem the world, and I want to join him on this. And it is in that moment of obedience where we learn some of the deepest and truest lessons. But what I have found out in my own life and in the lives of others who've experienced this, it is this moment where you're realizing that you're working side by side with Christ to unbreak this little part of broken creation, to bring some kind of healing. And it's this side by side of where Christ has invited me into this redemptive mission. Now, that drives me back to discipleship because if I'm going to do this, I got to learn more, know more, do. And then you show up on Sunday morning with a reason to be there.
Yes.
because most of our church members come on Sunday morning and do not have a reason to be there.
Yeah.
We haven't seen God do anything.
Yep. No. And
So
and what,
now you're sitting in the pew going, Kayla rang the bell of the stock exchange.
Yes.
I need somebody to sing louder to praise God for this journey that I've been witnessing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I sometimes have a hard time explaining to people. I am being played in tune by God.
Yes.
My life every day is dripping with purpose, right? And I like worship for me is almost a constant state because I'm like, oh my gosh, God.
You're not sitting in the pew going, bring worship to me.
No, I'm like, oh my gosh, God, I get to have a front row seat to this amazing person you love, right? And them unfold their journey and their potential before you. And so, and Kayla now puts Bible verses on every single one of her bottles of juice, right? And so to me, this is what I'm trying to call churches into. I'm trying to say, hey, get some people off the bench, help them put their discipleship into action, put them in a place where they have to be Holy Spirit dependent, moving by faith in the Lord, and then watch how you bless a community. And you will have your own story of Kayla.
And as the city thrives, you will thrive as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Jeremiah. But also, I would say, I love that passage. I think it's Ephesians 3, where he says, now to him who is able to do far more than we could ever ask or imagine. That says, according to the power at work in me through the Holy Spirit. And so there's this idea of, he wants to do more than we can ask or imagine, but he's going to use me as the vehicle with him to do it.
Yeah, it's what I tell people. It's what you would have asked for if you had known it was available.
Yes. This is actually life.
Oh, I didn't even know you could ask for this.
I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. Not someday when you die.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, guess what? You're going to have full life, but only after you die. No. It's going to start now because Jesus is at work in your life. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the myths that you have to dispel before people can engage?
Yeah. So one, if we're talking about getting churches engaged in this kind of work, I would say one of the myths you have to dispel is that our low-income neighbors are only worthy of pity, like we said, or only worthy of relief. You need to dispel the myth that they're not going to have an amazing life, right? Like the Lord has a big purpose for them. Let's see what he does. I'd say the second myth that I run into is that we believe that relief is all that the church can do because the real ministry is to get people there on Sundays. Right? I run into that all the time. And we don't see Jesus hanging out in the synagogue too much in the New Testament, right? He's not just doing a Sunday ministry. He's out there with the people day in, day out. And so I think that's one of the myths we have to shatter is that the church can gather on Sunday, but what do they do when they scatter?
So 24/7, 7 days a week.
Yep, absolutely. And I'd say that the last thing is I think churches often have a myth that they can't ask their volunteers for very much. That like maybe that our people really won't do it. We're having a hard enough time getting them to show up for small group or whatever.
Well, now you stepped on my sweet spot here because that infuriates me.
Yes, and I would say no. You're not calling them into enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're calling me into something that one I'm not any good at.
Yep.
I don't have the talents for.
Yep.
If you're working inside your giftedness, you can work all day because it comes
You're
easily.
in the flow.
It's natural.
Yep.
Nobody had to tell you, man, to work harder on the guitar.
Yeah. No.
You love that.
I lock myself in that room and study all
day long, kind of
Yes,
thing.
correct.
Yeah. And nobody has to tell me, man, you need to spend more time in script. That's what I love to do, and I was fortunate. I got a job where I got to do this all the time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now we tell this story all the time. You walk down in the hall in the Baptist church. Somebody grabs you and says, "We don't have a teacher in the children. You need to teach." Well, what happens in that person's life? One, I've made a decision. I will never walk down this hall again. 2, I start counting Sundays. Only 51 more Sundays and I'm out of here. Only 50 more Sundays and I'm out of here. Because this is not where I belong.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about this.
Yep.
And you're not a bad person because of that.
No.
But what happens in the life of the child?
Yeah.
Who starts thinking, why doesn't this guy like me? Why is it a bother? Rather than my son's kindergarten teacher was genetically edited to be a kindergarten teacher.
Yep.
When she flew into the room, I almost got diabetes. I mean, it was just, oh gosh, what do you do? But my son loved her and what he learned under her.
Yeah.
Now, she was in the place God literally created her to be.
Yep.
I'm not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But see, what we do in the church is we fill positions. We don't call people to their destiny.
Yep.
Now, you kept saying that the people that we know who are in poverty are more than relief. The people who are in our pews deserve more than to be counted as an attender when they've been called to do something remarkable.
It's life transformation.
Well, and and I would tell people, our people make multi-million-dollar deals every week. They do this, they do that, and then we want them to come sit. It is that is the guy who buried the talent.
Yep.
That is the same story.
Yep, 100%.
I'm sorry, I got on my horse there a little bit, but
but I think about
that
that same story in Scripture, the talent story. I think in our low-income neighborhoods, we have 10 talent people who haven't been given the opportunity to put the talents to work. And so if we connect these dots, both groups flourish. And in fact, in our kind of internal documents, I have a thing where we lay out the transformation we seek to have happen. And it's the same exact transformation for the business leaders who come to help lead and volunteer and for the participants who are taking the program. Same transformation.
Same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, the vision that we're trying to push with Kingdom Founders is, there's 350,000 churches in America right now, give or take a couple.
You better hurry because a lot of them are not going to take this transition.
That number might get lower.
Yeah.
But if we had 1,000 churches doing this work, we'd see $1 billion of economic impact annually. That was sustainable because it was these small business owners who are learning these skills and grow in their business. And I think we would see disciples starting to put their faith into action and becoming true evangelists.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They couldn't stop talking about what they were seeing God doing. Have you ever met that guy who's like, oh, man, my church said I need to invite people to church. Ugh.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no. You'd get people going, you've got to be in this room and see what's happening here. In fact, I need you to be the guest speaker.
Right.
You're good at marketing.
Right.
Will you come be the guest speaker?
Yeah, I want you to come. I want you to come help me train this guy.
Yep.
This is what you do. And he's doing the same thing with widgets.
Yep.
And you do widgets. I want you to meet this guy.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, recently we had, Burke Nihill, who's the CEO of the Tennessee Titans here. He came and was a guest speaker, called me after, had like a profound experience being in that room. And now we're partnered with the Titans, and in their new stadium, we're going to have access to 12,000 square feet where we can run our program when the Titans aren't playing there on Sunday. And we're working out how to give our entrepreneurs access to the fans on game day.
Ooh,
and that happened because he encountered that experience, right? And so, again, getting your people off the bench, letting them use their giftedness.
Okay, now you're saying, hey, we've got this of the Titans, we've got 12,000 square feet,
Yeah.
If we go and talk to vice president, general manager, he will say to us, all I did was open the door. I didn't do anything. You and I are celebrating that, but he's going, this was an easy thing I could do, and not realize the opportunity that he's opening up. And my guess is there are hundreds of thousands of church members who would come and say to us, listen, the only thing I did was explain how you put a purchase order together to this guy. And
Yep. Yep. We had, we did a partnership with a church in Charlottesville, Virginia last year, the Point VA, and they've now graduated 59 entrepreneurs. And one of their early stories that I love to hear was they had a dad who was teaching his kids math, and he came up with a card game using flashcards. And he was like, this is good. I might have a business here. So we came to their class. Well, the church had a designer, a young professional who helped him design the cards. And then because they were in Charlottesville, they had a math professor at UVA who helped him improve the quality of the math, right? Fast forward, this guy has sold over 500 units of these cards. And so I love the vision that the church has got all these people involved. And this guy is going to be able to send his kids to college off the money that he made from this idea.
From teaching math. And if you talk to the designer, he would say, it wasn't a big deal.
It was an hour of work.
A couple hours of work. And it was kind of fun because it was kind of stuff. Talk to the math professor. It was, this was basic.
100%.
I threw a couple of additional problems in there.
And that church is telling me, hey, we've got business leaders who've been going for 10 years, never volunteered to this.
They'll come to this.
And then they even had, this was a crazy story. They had someone a business leader in the community who wasn't going to church, heard about this, came on a Sunday, happened to see a video about one of the graduates, made a $20,000 donation on his first visit to the church. Because he said, if a church is doing this,
that's exactly right.
This is where I want to get behind with my resources. And so I think there's a thing here where the church has to be the tangible hands and feet of Jesus.
There you go.
In this moment. Because, federally speaking, we've got $1 trillion in cuts that are rolling out right now that are going to affect our neighbors in dynamic ways. Simultaneously, 59% of Americans can't put their hands on $1,000 of emergency cash right now today. And so if the government is not getting involved as much as they used to, who is better positioned than the local church? Well, I was going to say,
that the purist in me says that never should have been the government's job anyway.
Yeah, but
when the church abdicated it a couple of generations ago, then we've gone through this horrible transition of and the government has torn down families, wrecked lives, all in the name of rescue and help. Nobody's better at this than the church.
No one should be, but we stopped our expertise. And there's this idea of it pains me, but churches should be known as the most innovative, love of neighbor people on the planet. That should be our reputation.
And for years we were.
All the hospitals that started.
Hospitals, colleges,
100%.
Public schools, all of that. All of that came from us.
Even the ancient Roman letters, saying, hey, we've got disease in our community. The only people who stayed were the Christians. Everybody else bounced. But we've not seen that. And to me, it breaks my heart when I sometimes I'll be talking to a pastor and he'll say, kind of in a condescending way, oh man, that's great, that mercy ministry stuff. That's an adornment to the real work of the gospel. And I'm like, we've got an anemic understanding of the lived reality of Jesus Christ, if that's how we position it.
Yes. Yeah. So, I'm a pastor. I happen to see this. What do I do next?
Oh man, this is not a Google Voice number, but my cell phone is 615-498-4987.
You're a brave man.
That's my real deal phone number. Call me. No joke. I will help you get this going.
Okay.
And if you're a pastor who goes, man, I don't know if we're ready for that, my encouragement would be find a nonprofit in your local community that's doing meaningful work. Go meet with their executive director and say, how do we partner with you today? Don't wait. Sometimes the church, I think, can be guilty of ready, aim. 9 months later, the board's still aiming, but we haven't done anything.
The way that you learn to kill things as a pastor is refer it to a committee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If I really don't want to do this, I'll give it to a committee to study. But it's deader than a hammer.
Oh, yeah. What's that old saying? Check every state and every city. You'll not find a statue made to a committee. Right?
I haven't heard that one yet.
That's real.
Yeah.
And so my point is, you have people in your neighborhood right now who are hurting. And you might say, well, I'm in a suburban community. My neighbors are pretty well off. Well, the guy who's working the drive-through window at McDonald's, he needs your help, right? There are people in the service industry in your community who need your help. Find a way to plug in.
Okay, now the flip side.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is I know of people who you and I would say incredibly successful.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of things well.
Mm-hmm.
What they don't do is, in their mind, they don't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've done this and I've done this. I've got that certificate and that trophy and all of that, but I don't make a difference. I'm not going to leave anything that's behind. And they're looking for the opportunity to invest in something that ends up with life transformation.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big believer that if God sends it to you, he wants to send it through you.
Right.
And so, again, find...
And, I used to get in trouble all the time when I was pastor. People come to me and go, hey, you know what our church needs to do? And I put my arm around them and go, I'll be eager to see the business plan you bring to me.
Yes. Yes.
No. God didn't give me that itch. He gave it to you.
Yes.
And he wants to give it to you so he can give you the scratch so y'all can work on this together.
Yeah.
This is not my deal.
100%. I mean, in my life, with Corner to Corner in the nonprofit world, I raise money all the time. And I don't have like a method. All I'm looking for is if your heart beats faster when you hear about this work, that's a good indication that the Holy Spirit's telling you to invest here. If it's not, go find where it is. And so to the person who says, man, I've been really successful, I've got excess, what do? I would say, look around your community and find what pulls on your heart. Yeah. That is a good indication.
The same, and use the same kind of mind that you would think, if I put this $10 to work here, what kind of payoff, harvest, investment will it have?
Absolutely.
Have the same kind of discipline about your funds there.
Absolutely. And ask return on investment questions. Like, I think there's a movement in the nonprofit world to get better at data, right? And so Corner to Corner, we're huge on data. I mentioned our partners. Like, I can tell you pre and post class, 7 of 7 statistically significant markers show improvement.
Excellent.
As measured by Vanderbilt. So ask the tough questions, right? And I would also say, don't ask questions about overhead. Ask questions about impact.
Right.
There's this myth in the nonprofit world. It's like, oh, we only want 10% to go to salaries of the staff. If you want to hire dynamic people who can radically shift the needle, pay them well. Right. Yeah. So don't care about that as much as you care about impact.
Or if it's a situation where the staff is the talent.
Yes. 100%. So there's this world where I think we hamstring the nonprofits.
Sure.
But so I would just ask how they measure impact and take a look at their annual reports, those kind of things, and then get in the game. Go see it in action.
Yeah. Go do something. Yeah. You are the founder of this nonprofit. You show up at my church. And honestly, you're the 10th guy who's been in my office trying to sell me something or give me something or whatever.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking, one, my people don't have time for this. My people don't have capacity for this. So why should I bother my people with this?
Yeah. First, I would say the distinction is, this kind of program can be run by volunteers and not staff. So that's one thing. We're not asking, hey, your small group leader, we also want them to take on this extra role. So we can put that to rest. And then in terms of volunteers, what we often find is that high capacity business leaders, right? CFOs, CMOs, these kind of folks, they're being asked on Sundays to maybe hand out bulletins.
Right.
When Monday through Friday, they're leading teams of hundreds.
Right.
And so these are high capacity people who want to be useful, but when we give them low use jobs,
it frustrates
them. They don't feel tapped in. They don't feel called or made alive. And so I think there's all this latent capacity. This would be the equivalent of if you had Tom Brady on your team and you were asking him to hand out water bottles, right? Like, let's actually get him in the game throwing the football. And so what we do is we leverage those leaders to get them in the game. And then it also does a core part of work for the church, by which I mean you're getting discipleship growth by putting their faith and their skills into action. And so this comes alongside the mission of the church, rather than be some new thing that doesn't really align with the church.
But some of my people would say, listen, I'm good at computers, I'm good at accounting, I'm good at this or that. I'm not good at any of this church stuff.
Yeah, we've got a role for you. Come on, get in the game. 100%, right? Like we use bookkeepers, we use marketing professionals, website builders, email marketers.
For Jesus stuff?
For Jesus stuff. This whole program is designed to launch neighbors out of poverty through small business creation while also doing discipleship work as we unpack that they were made by God for a loving purpose. They're called by Christ. And so it is ingrained in big biblical principles, but also the technical blocking and tackling you need to start a small business. And so we can get those volunteers plugged in using their skills in that way.
Okay. I won't change topics totally.
Yeah.
On stuff.
I'm comfortable with that.
So just to put a marker here.
Yeah.
Website?
Kingdomfounders.co.
.co.
C-O.
Okay. All right. So go there if you want to know more about that. But before I let Will go, I want to talk to you about your new book, No Elevator to Everest.
Yeah.
Because we share a common burden. I have a special needs granddaughter, Rowan Glenn.
Yeah.
The special needs building at Brentwood Baptist Church is named for my granddaughter.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she reminds me of that she has a building named after her. And I was there.
It's a power move.
I have 32 years, and I have nothing there named after me.
Yeah, you should get a parking lot. At least. The Mike Glenn parking lot.
So in her school, they got that little book for her in school going, hey, my name is Rowan. This is my mother and my brother. And the last thing is, here's something else you may want to know about me. Turn over. I have a building named after me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You have adopted children. Special needs. Yeah. Both of them special needs?
No, I've got a typically developing 10-year-old daughter now.
10-year-old daughter?
A 14-year-old now with special needs.
Okay.
Both adopted domestically out of Memphis. Did not know that my son had any disabilities until he stopped sleeping through the night around age 2.5. And that went on for about 3 years. That started us on that journey. Fast forward, he's got multiple diagnoses, autism, intellectual disability, severe ADHD, as well as a rare neuromuscular genetic disease. He's only one of 50 known cases in the world.
Wow.
And it stretched us beyond the breaking point. And what the book talks about is our family getting to a place where, I was doing everything I could, but I had learned a find a problem, fix it model of life.
Right, sure. And we're good at that, man.
Yep.
Put my fix it hat on.
100%. And it led to a lot of success in some areas. But my wife was going through clinical depression, and she's blessed me to speak about this. She's going through that. I'm trying to fix her and failing. Then I'm trying to fix my son and failing. And I had this radical shift that I would ascribe to the Holy Spirit that reconnected me with God's unconditional love for me, reconnected me to myself, and then reframed how I interacted with my son, with my wife, and now with everybody else, where they're not a problem to solve, they're a person to know and enjoy. And so I enter into that in a completely different space. But it started me on a healing process by which I radically changed everything I thought I knew about quiet times and devotional rhythms. And kind of moved into contemplative faith.
One of the old stories I read one time about a man visiting a home for special needs children. Somebody said, "What's wrong with this child?" And the nun looked at him and said, "Which child?" "Or the child you're holding." "Oh, this is Thomas." And Thomas is being Thomas.
Yes, that's exactly right. That I can be with my son as is.
Yeah.
And meet him where he is today, and know him and enjoy him. And what I would describe is, I had an externally focused faith, right? But this reconnected me with, oh man, if I'm told that the Holy Spirit lives and dwells in me, but my whole life I've only learned how to ignore anything in here and only do out here.
Only push through.
Right? Then I'm missing all this opportunity to be led by the Lord. And so what does it look like? And so the book is a series of, stories from our family and then daily practices that you can do to connect with self and God.
Such as?
Yeah, so one that I do almost every morning is I get up. I have a coffee maker in our bedroom so I don't wake up the kids. That was a story I told myself was, I can't do a quiet time because I'll wake up the kids.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right? So I was like, no, I'm going to own this.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee maker in the bedroom. Now I can do my quiet time. Get up earlier. And the first thing I do is I sit in this chair and I ask myself, man, what am I feeling the most today?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a little fear because I know we've got that meeting with his school and then a doctor's appointment. And before I know it, I'm catastrophizing on into the future. Right. But I get still enough to go, oh, what am I feeling? Oh, it's this. Okay. Do I know what this is coming from enough to start to name it and then give it over to the Lord?
The power to name.
Yeah. Because I love that passage, cast your anxieties on the Lord for he cares for you. Well, tell me how.
That's right.
I always wanted that. What's that next verse? Right. And what I found is I can't cast what I can't name.
Right.
And so right away, I start the day with naming that and giving it over to the Lord and then moving in trust from the very first minute my feet hit the floor. So that's one of the practices that's outlined in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. How do we be friends with you and your wife?
I mean, you and me personally, or people in the world? Yeah.
Okay. One.
Yeah.
As a neighbor who knows a family who's dealing with special, how do I be a friend to them?
Ooh, I've never been asked that question. That's a great question. Yeah, I would start by saying, I think in Christian circles, we got really good at being casserole Christians, right?
Right.
So we can do a meal plan for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
But the nature of disability life is you're talking like my updates are always the same.
Yeah.
Still hard, right?
Yeah.
There's some really beautiful moments
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of really hard ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say one is, what does it look like to accompany a family like this?
Right. Wrap around, what we call in the adoptive communities, wrap around family.
And some of that is physical needs.
Mm-hmm.
What is the wear and tear on your house that you can't keep up with
Right.
because of the nature? What's the nature of your medical bills year over year, right? What does it look like to give those parents respite?
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of practical ways. And then the accompaniment piece, is like, how do we as Christians hold space for those who are going through hard things for a long time?
Mm-hmm.
That means, hey, when could I just show up and be with you?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
Well, Jeannie and I had twins,
Mm-hmm.
and we have never figured out how 2 on 2, and you're still outnumbered. We never could figure that out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We had a lady in our church who would blow in, just unannounced, whatever. The front door would fly open, and we would hear, "Baby, Grandma's here."
Yep.
And she would walk over to Jeannie. She said, "Baby," and it was always baby, "Baby, I got 2 hours. Grandma's got 2 hours. Starting right now, I'm going to keep your baby for 2 hours."
Yep.
Now, 2 hours and 1 minute, Grandma's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was things that Jeannie could take a bath.
Yep.
Jeannie
Yep.
could run to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And she would fly back out.
Yep. Yep.
But to hear Jeannie tell it, those random stop-ins of
Yep.
relief saved her mental state
Oh,
more than once.
I could tell you story after story. We had one period where the car was dying. We live in an old house off of Dickerson Road, historically tough neighborhood. We were finding rats in our crawl space. Had to deal with that. The car's dying. The rats are here. It's feeling a little bit apocalyptic. And then the roof starts leaking from one of our tornadoes in the area.
Of course.
Right? And I remember thinking, okay, Lord, what are you going to do here? Right? Because I didn't have any answers. Because, by the way, I also picked a lucrative career going into nonprofit.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Right? And so, and my car was literally zip tied together at the time. So fast forward, in the course of 1 month, I get a check in the mail from my old Sunday school teacher from when I was in 3rd grade, who's on a fixed income. He's retired, him and his wife. And he said, hey, we came into some random money and the Lord told us that y'all needed it. right? That took care of the rats. Then I met with a friend and his mentor. I'd never met his mentor. Turned out he was in construction. He said, "Will, just send me the phone number of the person you got a roof quote for." I never saw a bill. We got a new roof, right? And then my car's breaking down. I go to meet with a supporter for Corner to Corner. He sees my car and he goes, "Will, that's the kind of car I wouldn't park my car next to." Right? You're making me nervous. And he said, "What are we going to do about that?" And I said, "Well, actually, I've been saving, and I'm going down to see my brother who lives in Florida, and he's in the car world, and I'm buying a used car off of him." And he goes, "Well, so how are you going to pay for it?" I said, "Well, I've got a little saved, and then we're going to do a car note." And he goes, no. How much is the car note going to be? And I told him. He handed me a check in the course of a month. And so the Lord has used the saints to love our family so tangibly over so many years that like my whole life exists through the goodness of the Lord. Full stop. Right now, my son, he needs full-time, care, 24/7. He's currently at a disability-focused boarding school, right? And thankfully, it's about an hour away, so we still see each other all the time. And that school is around $8,000 a month. Another friend said, "Hey, you're never going to see a bill. Just tell me where to send the check. I sold a company. You don't need to worry about it." Over and over and over again. And so I would just say, if you know of a family who's got a kid that they're raising with disabilities, there is no end to how you can come alongside of them. As simple as a meal or doing some laundry for them,
Cutting
a
grass,
respite, all the way up to the kind of things I'm talking about.
Because more times than not, it's walking out day after day and seeing the grass that needs to be cut. That becomes the overwhelming burden.
Yeah. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah.
Because, the reality, Mike, and, my son, he almost died back in March from his rare disease. He was in Vanderbilt 8 days, getting his kidneys and back functioning properly. And we can handle that kind of crisis.
Yeah.
Like we mount up. We know how to
8 days
do it.
would be tough for 8 days.
Yeah, but we're going to do it. And then you come home to, oh man, the yard.
24 care and everything else.
And all of that. And you start going, whew, right? And so, yeah, I think there's tremendous opportunity for the saints to be sources of God's love for these families.
One of my favorite stories is in one of my first churches. A friend of mine named Jesse. Anytime there was trouble in the family, a death or whatever, he would show up and say, "Give me your shoes," and he would polish everybody's shoes. Okay, and I asked him when he said, when my dad died, I didn't have time to polish. I looked at my suit and I looked down my feet and I said, those shoes look awful. And he said, so I just started doing this. And to him, it was no big deal. Just give me your shoes, I'll polish them. But the story that came from that is a friend of mine said, do you know what happened after my wife died? And I said, no. He said, Jesse came over and polished my shoes. He said he brought them back and they looked like a brand new penny. He said, this. And I put them on. We did the funeral, and I'm sitting there next to her grave. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just lost. And I heard the Lord whisper to me, I took care of your shoes. Don't worry about it. I took care of your shoes. I'll take care of everything.
Amen and hallelujah.
Yeah. Well, it has been a thrill to have you. I hope you will come back. Your book, No Elevator to Everest.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here, friend.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.